A proud judge mocked a potter's cracked clay pot, calling it worthless. But when the rains came and the perfect pots shattered, only the cracked one held water. And the judge learned that what's flawed may hold the greatest purpose. In a quiet riverside town, market day was the heartbeat of every week. Traders shouted their prices, farmers haggled, and artisans laid out their proud creations under the golden sun. Among them was Hari, the potter, a humble man whose hands bore the marks of long labor, his fingernails lined with red clay. His stall was simple, displaying neat rows of pots, tall ones for grain, round ones for milk, and small ones for flowers. But among them sat one curious pot, cracked along its side and uneven at the lip. That morning the town's judge, a man known for his fine clothes and sharper tongue, stopped by Hari's stall. He picked up the cracked pot, held it high, and chuckled loudly. "And what fool would buy this?" he said, his voice slicing through the hum of the market. "A pot that cannot even hold water. What use is it?" The crowd laughed. Hari bowed his head. "It has its use, my lord," he said softly. "Every pot holds something different." The judge waved his hand dismissively and strode off, leaving behind a small storm of embarrassment. Yet Hari kept the cracked pot right where it was, not hidden, not replaced. He only smiled faintly, as though he knew something no one else did. Days passed, and the sky began to change. What had been blue turned heavy and gray. A storm was brewing, one the townsfolk hadn't seen in years. By dusk, the winds howled through the streets, roofs trembled, the river swelled angrily. Hari's small workshop shook, but he worked on, patching his shelves, moving his wares to safety. When the judge arrived, drenched and worried, Hari offered shelter without a word of reproach. Inside the workshop, pots of every shape lined the walls. As thunder rolled, Hari covered each one carefully, except the cracked pot, which he left near the door. "You forgot one," said the judge. "No," replied Hari, "that one will serve tonight." When the storm struck hardest, rainwater began to leak through the roof. A steady drip fell into the cracked pot. The judge scoffed at first, until he saw that the uneven lip guided the flow perfectly, collecting every drop while the others stood empty. By morning, when the rains eased, that single flawed pot held enough water for them both. As dawn broke, the judge stared at the pot, its crack glowing faintly with light from the rising sun. "I mocked what I did not understand," he said quietly. Hari smiled. "Even the sun has spots," he replied, "but it still brings light." Word of the pot spread through the town. People came to see it, and the judge himself told the story, how the cracked pot saved him from thirst when all others failed. From that day on, he carried a small clay shard from it in his pocket, a reminder that worth cannot always be seen at a glance. Weeks later, the judge ordered a new carving above the courthouse gate. It read, "Judge not by the crack in the clay, but by the water it carries." The townsfolk smiled, and Hari returned to his wheel, shaping new pots with gentler hands. And somewhere in his workshop, sunlight still fell upon that humble, cracked pot, glowing as though touched by grace itself. True worth often lies hidden beneath imperfection. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tale Ember, where timeless wisdom glows through every tale.